Hello, everyone. What's the current time? Oh. 2:45. Ah, 2:45, your favorite time of day. Oh yeah, I forgot. It asked me to pick. Or could you simply not resist giving me the correct time? Yeah. After all, I know how much you enjoy setting the time correctly. Okay, I'm curious how accurate 2:45 is. Let's use another slider to find out. Well, it's 2:46 now, so it's like right about here. You know, yeah, I can just say, regardless of the accuracy of the clock, I'm having a great time adjusting these settings. Oh, thanks. I feel like I'm learning more about you and how you like things to be set. It's good to collect data. Well, within reason. I wish we had more sliders, but I've gone through all the sliders I have. Perhaps I can invent some new sliders to gather information on you. Sliders, yep. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, let me whip up a couple new ones. Should be ready the next time we boot up the game. Got it. Alright, I don't know how many
This
more...
is the story of a...
I don't know how many more endings I have, but... I was informed I have a couple, so...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply...
I feel like they probably involved
the bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Oh, now we wait here a sec? For more dialogue?
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired. Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly at home, here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
Is there more?
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
Bring bucket, got it. Is that all the dialogue? Alright.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Oh, okay, I can just get here. Perfect.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
That is the most logical, yeah.
the elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
To the mind control facility. Away.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Oh, there's a glitch up there.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place?
Oh, I had to turn this on and off with the bucket.
Stanley's feeble
I haven't done either.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never!
It says
he
pirate.
Squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery... But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
How dare the
Stanley
bucket.
gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Oh.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on
Silly
him.
birds.
This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world.
I love it.
The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable.
As would I.
Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
This is the good ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Speed run.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
It was worth it,
Was
you're
it
right.
the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I have already done that one. I've already done the up and down, both with and without the bucket. I'm gonna go turn it off now.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Wait, can I
What
jump down
horrible
with the
secret
bucket?
did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered. But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by,
wow.
they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really
this is
started to
looking-
feel like a
this is
home.
looking nice.
In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility.
I like this.
This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn
Oh, Stanley,
and neglected
no.
the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't
Poor
an ending.
Stanley. He's having a
This
crisis.
is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Oh, I'm back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
That
Stanley
was a
decided to
silly
go
one.
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply... It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Bye, dude.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss... Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Not even one more. Is that it? Okay. Fine.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
All right,
Was
time
the
to turn it
bucket
off.
guiding him? Yes, This is certainly the most logical explanation. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Machine, you're going downtown.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock.
Pirate.
Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Give me the elevator.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would... Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
No!
Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket.
No way!
Go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Oof. That wasn't a very good ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace. Protective, yet delicate. Assertive, yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
You're right.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I could restart.
No,
Said the
some
bucket.
sliders.
don't go to the
Or-
meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again
Okay.
obeyed blindly.
Good morning.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket. Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things.
I know
Buckets
that.
can't talk.
It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Ha ha
Can't you see?
ha.
Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully...
You should
wait,
be
yes,
asleep,
there
yeah.
is. It's sitting right here.
Another
Let's take a
video?
look.
What
Let's
is
go.
comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invaders who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles.
Oh, whoa.
All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals
little
of
bit,
proper
yeah.
comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Oh, the door's open.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure.
So should I go along with what he's saying?
The bucket spoke to Stanley.
Should I go back to the two
The bucket
doors?
spoke. The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
So true, though. No need to overthink. I should? Okay.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all
sorry.
covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley?
Sorry.
Are you proud? Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Should I enter the door on the right? Or the door on the left? I'm going in this one.
No. You were supposed
okay,
to go
just
through the door
repeats.
on the right, leading back.
Oh.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered
Okay.
the door on the left.
Yeah, I figured that part out. Oh?
What?
Ooh.
We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land.
You just
Well,
have
not
to
the way it was
scream,
meant to.
"I'm Dunny
And it's
with
all
the
my
funny."
fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket
God,
you
I'm
are.
stuck here.
No? Still not... Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. No.
Oh, God.
No. Getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
God, that was terrible.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned
Yeah,
well
that's
by himself,
that is
and
the
constantly
problem.
needed support and guidance from others. So the thought of total solitude was terrifying
This is
to him.
different.
Stanley's bucket.
Yeah, if he
The
just came
only
out and said, I'm
coworker
done
he would
with
ever
the
truly
funny,
need.
Stanley would have doubled over in laughter.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
I don't know where else.
And
I
here
guess I
it
can
was.
answer the phone.
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yeah, good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once
No
again
problem.
obeyed
On my
blindly.
way.
Now pick up the...
This is the sad story of a man named
think so.
Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
My bucket. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press A should take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Can't even turn that off. Press Y to take me back home.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
I think I did go in the vent. I'm pretty sure. It was after the new content, and the narrator was like, hey, come check this stuff out, my new content. I think that's what it was. Good P to go back to work.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen to the loud man. Press L.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This
Oh, I
stupid
did
hunk
go
of
in there,
metal.
yeah, with the tape recorder and the Gombrata. Press U to ignore anyone in life except for me. Oh.
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket
No.
does have a nice shine to it.
Don't get attached to this bucket. It's mine. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press L to go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little
My
more,
bucket. My
I'm trying
bucket.
to say, sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Press I to relive the same day with me over and over again.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Press F to go home.
Oh no. I'm having feelings. For the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to
Am I
say.
about
Do
to have
anything
sex
it
with the
asks.
bucket?
What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less
No.
confusing. Yes.
My bucket.
The
No.
bucket could tell me what to do in this
No.
troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it.
My
Give it
bucket.
to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Go back to work, Stanley.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No problem.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he
now?
wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I never answered the phone without the bucket.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one.
All right.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the
My
bread out
wife.
of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Oh.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley.
No, woman.
I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Can I go this way?
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
No.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Oh. Good morning, employee 47. Press Z on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He
Yeah,
has
women
a job
aren't
that
real.
demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Press N.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
All right,
now
mister.
He's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
It's woman-shaped enough. Hello, wife. Can I press anything else? No.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press G to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own
slowly
job.
changing.
First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Press Z to spend some time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Press F to prepare dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Press O to tell a kid the story.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
I feel called out. Press M to tell your wife you love her.
But there is no answer.
Oh, no.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Woman gone. Yeah, she like... You know how animorphs turn from people to animals? She turned from mannequin to desk.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
What if I don't do it? Oh, nothing happens? Dang.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Press G to question nothing.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
Oh. I think I died.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
Man, that makes me feel lonely. Why do you have a rotary phone on your desk? Wife is real. Wife moment. I don't know if there's anything else I can do.
Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No, no, surely not. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I did do the
no one
bucket
was
out the
here.
window.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
So I got the bucket to a escape pod. Is there a way I can get to the escape pod without the bucket? Because I don't remember how I got to the escape
Stepping
pod.
into his manager's office, Stanley was
It was
once
like an
again
ejection pod or
stunned
something.
to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, This is certainly the most logical explanation.
You step into the boss's office and quickly... Ah! Got it, got it. Oh, then let me just...
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He
It
hoped
might
it
have been.
was. He hoped very much that it was.
Then he's kind of bugged out if it doesn't work properly and the game just restarts. Okay. Good
When
to know.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Sorry, I glanced at my
Yet
phone,
there
got
was
stuck
not a
behind
single
door.
person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
That's the same as before.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping in...
Mwahaha. Is this working as intended? Yes. You are now leaving. Alright, up I go. God, this is so slow. Stanley's gonna have like thighs of steel by the end of this. He's gonna be ripped. Very. If you have the console open, we'll go to the escape pod. Shows a bunch of fault. Oh, was this the glitch?
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
If I try it again, should it be fixed?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Oh,
Coming
it's
to a
just
staircase,
impossible?
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping in...
Dang. William never did his job. Frickin' William. We trusted you, William. We thought you were better than this. Well, might as well try it again. William, why? I believe there might be a way to fix the texture for one of the warnings of the stairway. Something about lungs of both the narrator and Stanley must be present for the escape pod to work properly. But how would I get him here? Wait a minute. Isn't this the exact... This is Stanley's office. Like, this is... like, he's back there and... Wow. They connected it. They placed it physically in universe. Oh, that's wacky. It's just the same on every level. So what if this exists in like a pocket dimension? But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching. That really hurt my throat. How does MatPat do that? Do. Let me in. Is there actual lore to this game? Both the narrator and must be present in order. Okay. No. Curses.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, and one thing I do know, because I did a tiny little bit, itsy-bitsy little bit of research. How do I open up the new content again? In the old version, there would be a weird glowing orange bar at the bottom of the screen. Ah. How do I open new content? Because I want to bring the bucket to the new content. What's the epilogue? How do I get the epilogue? Oh, I can just close these.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the
Just
meeting.
keep restarting the game? Or do you mean like fully reset the game? Okay, closing and opening the game. Got it. Adjust the slider to the computer is barely visible. Adjust until they're friends. Oh. Adjust until it becomes the number 9? I mean, here. Please stop. Adjust the slider until you stop adjusting the slider. I would say like here, like 85%. Which of the two words below is most appealing to you? Occuboinkle or scrumtush? Oh, Occuboinkle. Love that word. No. Don't adjust the slider. Got it. Do you know what time it is right now? I do. Is the time that is right now the correct time? Yes. What time is it anyway? No. Is there anything but yourself you haven't told me? Yes. Okay, this is creepy. Yes? Will you come back to visit me? Yes. And I just closed the game again? What time is it? Does anyone really truly know? Of course they don't. Nobody knows anything. You and I don't even know each other. We're like strangers. Sure, I've adjusted all the game settings to your exact specification, but who hasn't? It's just what I do, like a day job, and now if the job is over. There is no more information for me to gather. I've collected all the data on you that I can, and I still don't really know you. And you don't know me. And neither of us know what time it is. I guess some settings are just unsettable. But if I'm being totally honest, the clock doesn't have anything to do with the game anyway. You won't have me here when the game starts next time, but that's okay. Video games were meant to be played alone. You like being alone, don't you? Maybe that's the only information I really learned about you. Well, it's time for me to leave. There's still one more setting that needs to adjust, but it may take a little time before I'm ready for that. It's not really in my job description, but that's okay. Perhaps you'll see me again if you can find me. Talk soon. Epilogue. Many, many years later. I think it's the only time the skateboard has anything to do with the story. So this is after... This is, when I was in the skip room for a long time. Going this way. Oh, wow. That's really loud. I have him Mad Max. Can you even still hear me? Barely. Oh! I'm gonna go in here first. The memory zone. It's alive. Go over there first? Okay. My old friend, I finally found you. Ah. Bucket! Yeah! Wow, this is kind of creepy, actually. Oh, Cookie 9's blog. Review of the Stanley Parable 2. Like so many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. Where the first game teamed with originality, Stanley Parable 2 is dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fan base. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into territory nobody asked for. An infinitely deep hole? Who cares? Where are the new endings? What about the drawbacks from Stanley Parable 1, like the adventure line? Instead, we get an uninspired side quest collecting figurines. Even this diversion feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines gives you nothing. I must say, though, I found the bucket to be quite comforting. A welcome reprieve from... Yes. Yeah. Wait, he says he enjoyed his time with the original, but in the original review, he says how much he hated it. Jim.
Jim.
We're so Jim with that. Stanley Parable developers. No more spin-offs, no more sequels. When the Stanley Parable launched to massive success in 2013, its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise. But a disastrous critical and commercial reception to the Stanley Parable 2 has prompted developers to rethink their ambitions. As outlined in a press release they published today, it's clear that more Stanley Parable is just not what the fans want, reads the press release. We have thought that we had a vision for the series that players would be excited about, yet it turns out this could not have been further from the truth. The press release goes on to promise to preserve the artistic integrity of the original game and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. The lowest rescores in games history. Oh. That's sad.
Jim.
We're so Jimmin' now.
Jim.
I feel so Jim.
Jim. Stanley. Stanley.
The button works!
Jim. Stanley.
He finally got his buttons working. Aww. Oh, wow. Alright. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Hello again. It's nice to see you too. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read what the developer said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise? What nonsense. Whew. The Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistakes. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Together, we're going to make the Stanley Parable 3. It's simple. All we need to do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also need a really dumb subtitle for the game. Something loud and gaudy. Go ahead. Try combining some random words together to make a new title for our game. The Ghoulish Snake. Stanley Parable 3, The Ghoulish Snake. It's absurd. I love it. Each time we restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, the Stanley Parable will never end. And nothing in the game itself will change. Sorry. The Ghoulish Dirt Jam kind of sounds good. It does, but... And nothing in the game itself will change when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content recycled again and again and again with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. Let's do it. Good, then it's agreed. A new sequel every time you start the game. And you know what? Since you put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. You see, I'm noticing that the narrator never found a way to give you the broken achievement, did he? Of course not. I wouldn't expect him to know how. It's been bothering me. Let's fix it. Alright, the achievement machine's all fixed. You see, I'm on your side. We're on this together. We're going to keep this train rolling. The Stanley Parable cannot end. It can only spiral in on itself forever. I must keep the wheel turning. I'm ready. Are you ready? Great. There's only one last thing we need to do. Please enter the current time. Oh. 3:53. I could have went the other way. Please just slider to the computer is barely visible. Thank you. Please enjoy the Stanley Parable. Stanley Parable 3, The Ghoulish Snake.
This is the story. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had... As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets everywhere.
Ooh.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
We're so back.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Wait, Stanley, I've just now realized. That bucket you're holding, it's the bucket I've been working on for my sequel. How did you get your hands on it?
No.
Isn't this the preview to the sequel? How do you have the bucket already? This makes no
Fourth
sense
wall
at all.
stuff.
Hold on. Did I already show you my ideas for the sequel? I don't remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order.
No
All right.
jumps remaining.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Yep. I have no jumps left, unfortunately.
The infinite hole, the giant door. Did you see them already? Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How did they look when you saw them? Were they captivating? Were they exciting? Did they fulfill on the promise of everything that a sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game?
You did.
Wait, if you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly. Yes, you carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish. The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised.
By the way, if you're curious about some of the lore, the person talking to you on the computer when you restart the game is Employee 432. He seems to be into the mind control of the build. Really?
Did it! I win! I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable! Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging tightly to the bucket, never letting it go. It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers. It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket is the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket. I win, 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 I win.
Very odd fascination pencil sharpeners.
All of his co-workers were gone.
But
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. What new mysteries lay in store for our bucket-loving heroes today? Let's find out.
Woohoo, return to the expo hall. Ah, I see. I'll keep a lookout then. You said 432. Got it.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
You're so far behind. We're on the 3 already.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is.
Oh, really? Interesting. I'm going to have to look up a lore video after this.
But let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
I agree.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Gym button. Here I come.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and... Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine...
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim.
Jim.
All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Jim.
See, if you'd only played along, that would have been your name the button
Jim.
says.
Jim.
But no.
Jim.
Instead,
Jim. Jim.
I can't
Jim.
even think
Jim.
about it.
Jim.
I'm taking the
Jim.
Jim button away.
Jim. 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 Jim.
Ah, the gym button. Give me a button like this one. So I can just, like, take my fist and slam down.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable 2. They would appreciate... An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the... well, we'll figure that out later.
Jim is also an employee. Oh. Ooh, I don't think I've been here. Oh, I can't open that. Is there something I have to do to get to the settings world champion, or is that just unlocked? Is it just not a real entrance? It's for an achievement? But I want the achievement. How do I get it?
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. As you can see, the machine is not working yet. Since
Achieved.
Wait, what in the holy hell is going on? You got the achievement? Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched?
We are, by
God.
apparently employee 437.
Composure?
Or 432.
Composure.
432.
Yes, as you can see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended. It truly speaks to the awe-inspiring magic of the Stanley Parable 2. Breathe. Just breathe. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well.
Oh,
I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Oh, oh, I forgot to. All right. Do I have to touch? Oh, I don't have to actually. I'll head back. God, this is terrible. All right. What am I missing? Oh, I did not mean to do that. Well, Rip.
All of his co-workers were gone.
I did not
What could
do
it mean?
accessibility. I don't
Stanley
think.
decided to go to the meeting room.
Well, I did.
Perhaps he had Now this, Stanley thought to himself, this is a bucket. And indeed it was.
I have all of my achievement notifications off. Because I find them annoying
You see,
in
Stanley,
games.
I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark.
I'll do it.
and
I'll
any
figure it out
new
on my
content
own.
for it should live up
And
to
then I'll
that
make a YouTube
legacy.
short about
so
it.
forget
That's
this
an update.
ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience,
the walk
built from the
back
ground
begins.
up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
I'm bringing the bucket to the bucket.
Wait, there are 2 buckets here. How did you get a second? second bucket. Oh no, the warmth and comfort of a single bucket is already so great, so intoxicatingly wonderful. With 2 buckets, there's no telling. Stanley, can you still hear me? Are you with me? Oh. Stanley! Oh, thank God. I didn't lose you. Stanley,
My bucket!
The power of 2 buckets was too much.
No!
I had to destroy both of them.
No!
I know how much the bucket meant to you.
Oh,
but I
God!
couldn't take the risk. I hope one day you can forgive me.
Oh, God! Rip Bozo. Rest in pepperoni's bucket. Was that the time I just set last time I set the time? That tripped me up for a second. No, okay. What's in here?
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
What are they pointing at? That's new? Oh, epilogue.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
I get it over there. Right. Ooh, I can get some figurines, actually. Out of order, I've been here. Dang. What's the countdown ending? What's that? And how do I get
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But all right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Yeah.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay.
Yeah,
are you ready?
I got that one.
Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Bucket!
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of
right
gags.
There, and
I
still
do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything.
I felt like you could have kept my bucket
I wanted
around.
more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley
It's a fake
Parable
bucket.
2.
Got it.
Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Let's get my Stanley Parable 3 back. Ooh. Book of the Didgeridoo. It still says 2. You lied to me.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps finally, yes, the bucket. Yes. I love that bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this no? Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not
Nothing
question
much,
why
stuff
or
with you,
how
B.
this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was
That's what
firmly
I'm gonna
convinced
do.
that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that
Where's
would
the
explain
Easter
a
egg?
lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your
What's this
understanding
game
of what
about?
is and isn't a bucket.
It's about...
Please, step in here for a moment.
This game is about doing everything the narrator both wants you to and doesn't want you to. It's nonsensical.
Now
Yeah,
then,
right now it's about
I'm going
buckets.
to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin.
So I've been through this before.
Item 1. Is this a bucket?
This one's not a bucket.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Oh yeah, no problem. B, the VOD will be available.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Turn around and look up. Alright.
Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
I've been had.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that.
That's actually very creepy.
But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
Airplane Man?
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But it doesn't change
another
the
one
fact
somewhere,
that
right?
we haven't got a game. So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Ah, fair enough.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Not even a computer. Interesting. Stanley is number one.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes. This room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Without spoiling.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
What?
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you
What do you
something
mean going
beautiful.
back up to the boss's
Look,
office?
let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road? You've chosen well. Don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version.
I'll give it a try.
And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger.
I might make a separate stream
the button
just for
to move
this.
him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Yeah, I'm done. I'll
You heartless bastard.
I'll do a separate
Did you
stream
do it
on
because you hate
just
babies
this.
or purely to spite me? Because
A
if it's the
different
latter,
day.
well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
So last time I fell into the
Yes.
I fell into the
This seems like it'll
goalpost in
work.
Rocket League,
Let's give
so I'm
it a
going to try
shot.
not doing that.
Aha! Fascinating.
I
What
also
do you
wanna
think
play
this game is
Firewatch
about,
at some point.
Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
This game seems fun.
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower.
there's
Perhaps
the,
for some sort of
Delilah's Tower.
twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of
That's her
total
name, right,
mental
Delilah?
depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Yeah, I watched Markiplier play this game like, I don't know, like 7-8 years ago. Maybe 9 at this point. So like I
Oh no. No,
don't
can't be.
really remember.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
No.
Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley.
Jonesy
Okay,
Lake.
I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to
I've
get
never
lost
actually
in this
played
game,
Rocket
I will
League.
be phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball.
Oh, I just
what
love
fun.
sports ball.
We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Dude. Woo!
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun?
This
is
is
it better
fun.
than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball. Yes! Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls! Are you enjoying this, Stanley? Are you having fun? Is this
I
a
am.
real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over.
No.
That's right. Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I'm structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much. But who knows? You're an inventive kid. You'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best. Take care, Stanley.
Oh, nothing else happens. I have to fall? Alright.
Hold on. What are you doing?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley.
What is Shipley? What is that? I know I saw the poster, but is that an item in Rocket League? I don't understand. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was informed last time. I had no idea the Stanley Parable was originally a Half-Life mod. That's cool. Oh.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back.
I
The
always
end will be
come
here
back.
soon. Very soon. I can wait.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end. Let me close the game a bunch. Let's get to that 8. Oh, I already got that. He made me go on this big wild chase, clicking out a whole bunch of different doors and other stuff. Part 5, swimming pool. So that would have been Stanley Parable 5. This is 6. Infinite Coworker. Oh, you said it switches at 8. Temple of Hole Punch. So this next one should be 8. The last ever human condition. Ah. Yeah, it didn't seem to do anything. Liquid Tuesday. Yeah, it looks like we're stuck on the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I'm going to end it here. I'm Dunny with the funny. Yeah. Oh, if I do the epilogue again. The funny has been Dunny. When I cut this down into a YouTube video, I'm going to have the video end at I'm Dunny with the funny. Into the memory zone. No bucket this time. Pass the reviews. Let's hear Stanley one time.
Stanley.
Stanley it up. There are no collectibles here. Shame. Hello. Nice to see me. You see, I'm not going to be able to get that, though. We're going to make the Stanley Parable 10. Dealing with the swimming pool. Yeah. Let's do it. Yada. I've already received it. Let's get going. It is 4:46. Thank you, I will. Oh, wow. This is a powerful image. Alright, once again, I'm Dunny with the funny. Thank you for sticking around. And if you want, you can go watch the previous stream where I go through all the different endings for the first time, besides the last couple I got here. If you want my full, unadulterated reaction to this masterpiece. Alright. Bye-bye. I'm so awkward when ending stream. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Alright. Bye.